And we're back. The final slap. Road to the title. Season 3, episode 1 in the books. There was a lot of hype going into this one. You heard Dana say the success from season 2 made him want to run it back. Season 3, right away. The first episode did not disappoint. You know what? Power Slap listened. We wanted more of the stuff in the house. We got in this episode. We got 2 matches in the lightweight division that didn't disappoint. Ding. For a first episode, did you get the answers that you were hoping to?
Listen, man, you know I'm very high on Robert Trujillo. I'm a little nervous, man. There's some stiff competition in the lightweight division as we moved into Road to the Title Season 3. As always, they started with the best two first-round knockouts, delivering us the treats. Obviously, we got some premonition for some guys that look like they're heavyweights that are starting to brew some drama in the house, and Devin Helm and Bryce Jones. I thought it was an incredible first episode. They stood kind of, the same format that they've had in the past where they do the 2 fights, a little bit of house stuff. They give us the background on the guys. So I thought that they did that well this time around. I really did enjoy learning about the guys. And we know from some of the stuff that we saw, a lot of these guys got some good personality. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, I mean, the personality is definitely there. I thought it was really cool to see. We knew that there was 33 strikers in this episode, but we didn't know that the crazy Hawaiian would take a group of them that would have to fight into the house. So very interesting to see that unfold. I mean, there's some great contenders. And ding, right off the bat, we got 3 Canadians, my man. I know you hate us up here, but we got 3 of them on this episode. And we've seen, obviously, Josh B going in there and representing Canada proud in that first round.
Can you pronounce his last name for me?
I don't know, my man. You got me on that one. Thanks. That's why I'm calling him Josh B.
It's Beauvert, if I'm not mistaken. Beauvert.
All right. So we got Beauvert. Obviously, you got Beauvert versus Jay Rivera, and then Anthony DeFranco going up against Gianni Huerta. I mean, my man, these 2 matchups we talked about before, the first episode always delivering bangers in season 1 and season 2. Season 3 delivered through and through. We're going to bring on right now Anthony DeFrank. What's up, my man?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Doing really good, man. What an incredible way to break into the scene. Could it have gone any better for you?
Honestly, if you told me to do a better performance, I couldn't, even if I tried. I put everything on the line and gave it every opportunity that I could. You know what I mean? And I took full advantage of that, as you guys could see.
Yeah, I mean, man, you come in with a ton of enthusiasm, the confidence. I mean, it can't just be from music. Like, what made you believe that you had the skill set to be able to go up there and perform the way that you did?
So for me, my thing is I like to challenge myself, and I like to, in my way, you got to challenge yourself to get better. So the more I challenge myself, the more obstacles I can overcome, the better I'm going to be as a man itself. So seeing this is seeing a hand-to-hand combat, something that's actually physical, is going to make me better in the long run.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you go up there, phenomenal performance. The slap score is relatively similar. You had a 4-inch height advantage. We've seen in the light heavyweight with Robert Trujillo that being the shorter guy has been more advantageous in that weight class so far. Were you worried at all about that height difference, or did you feel that it wasn't going to play into the outcome?
So for me, my thing is I'm a very cocky individual. So as soon as I went up there, I knew I had it in the bag. I knew that all I had to do was just go up there and give it my all. And exactly what I expected to play out is exactly how it played out for me.
Where does that cockiness come from?
Me just loving myself, honestly. I don't know. I'm just full of myself. Me just seeing myself on the camera, me just achieving and just keep overcoming things and just keep doing things that I never thought would be possible. That's where it really comes from. So maybe it is a cockiness, but it's also a humbleness in a way as well.
Gotcha. I know we got to see a bit of your background. We've seen your music that you're doing. We got to see your family as well. What's the day in the life of Anthony right now? Like, what does it look like?
So right now, on a day-to-day, what I try to do with my social media, I'll try to get a bunch of content in, either whether that be Instagram, YouTube, my podcast. I have a podcast as well. And so just getting content, just pushing myself out there as much as possible to really get my name out there, to really get the grand picture of who I am and show the world who I really am, in a sense.
Ding. Anything you want to add?
Hey, King, man, nice to meet you, my brother. Again, congratulations. I echo Corey's sentiment. Incredible performance. One of the things that Austin Turpin, your coach, said up there that I thought was interesting, he acknowledged that you don't exactly look like a guy that's got a ton of power. Obviously, we saw that you don't have to look like it to have it. When you went up there, how confident were you that you'd be able to get it done in round one versus maybe taking it to, a round two or round three, based on what you knew about Gianni, which at that point was probably a little, not much.
Honestly, I'm glad you asked that question because that's the one thing I always get since I was growing up. People always doubted me, and that's the one thing I do love is to overcome the doubts. You know what I mean? And prove not only people wrong but myself as well. So me going up there, it was all a confidence thing, and I knew as soon as I stepped on that stage, I already had it in the bag. My confidence versus how he was, how he was reacting, everything like that. I already knew I had it in the bag, and I wasn't worried.
Now, I know obviously this took place probably something close to, I guess now we'd be looking at 8 to 10 weeks or so. So if you could remember this, maybe vaguely, what would you say was going through your head when he hit you that first time? You get rattled, you kind of do the chicken dance a little bit, you recover. But what's going through your head? Do you think, are you worried about that second shot? Obviously, it never had to come, but where was your head at in that moment where you take a shot like that? It rocks you at least a little bit. It gets you off your balance. You're able to recover, but now you don't know what's coming next.
100%. That's a great question. Honestly, as soon as he hit me, I was more just shocked. I was just stuck in my spot, and in my point of view, I was just standing there. And I was just stuck, just waiting for everything to get my conscience back. And then once I was good, went back out there and then did my thing. You know what I mean? But I didn't expect it to shock me as much as it did. But that is on me for having my chin out as much as I did. So.
Yeah, 100%. And, I know I'm from originally from New York City, so I know you've been in fights as a kid, growing up in Long Island. I totally resonate with that. But somebody in the comments actually asked, and I wanted to know this myself, do you have any combat sports or fighting experience outside of Power Slap in the past?
So I never had actual combat background. Like you said, I always grew up fighting in the streets, fighting here and there, boxing. I was gonna do actually USA boxing. I was gonna get into boxing, but that was when COVID happened, and I had to get the vaccine for that, so I didn't end up going through with it. And then I never really ended up getting back into it. But I always grew up around wrestlers, stuff like that. So I was always training in some way or the other. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. Like I said, incredible performance. We want to wish you congratulations. And without teasing anything too crazy, what can we expect from you throughout the rest of the season?
Pretty much what you saw from the first episode. I bring everything out there. I give it my all, and I enjoy every second of it. Because at the end of the day, you got to enjoy it while you're there.
Yeah, I got to ask you, man, what was it like living in the house with that many guys? Was it kind of like living in a frat house?
Honestly, it's the best of both worlds because you're surrounded by a bunch of men, so you're always tested to be the best version of yourself. You got to always step up to the occasion or see if you're going to step down. And being in the house is good because it really shows you if you're going to step up or if you're going to step down, and it shows you what kind of guy you are. And me, I never step down from a situation, especially being from New York.
Totally. Talk to me about Austin Turpin. What was he like as a coach?
Oh, he was amazing. He matched my energy perfectly. If I could say anybody in that Power Slap that matches my energy, it had to be Turp. He brought the energy, brought the excitement, and me having him as my coach, I think it really showed in my first fight as well.
Mm-hmm. Having Robert Trujillo, and you heard Dana in that interview say that, they really created this tournament to be able to get a competitor to go up against Robert because he's taken out the entire division already. Was there kind of a chip on your shoulder? Did you have respect for Robert, or was there still something there hey man, I want my shot at you one day?
So it's always at the end of the day, if you step on that stage, you earn my respect. So I always had that respect for him. But in my end, I want to be the best. So to be the best, you have to take out the best. So as soon as I went in there from the beginning, from day one, before I even knew I was fighting Gianni, I wanted to go straight for Trujillo. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. One last one about your strike. Do you think, was that the best strike that you could deliver, or do you think there's still a little something there? Because it didn't seem to me like it was everything you got. It looked like you still got something else in there with a little bit more refinement. What do you think?
I think it could definitely get better. That was for my first fight. I was more getting comfortable with it, really getting into the feel of how it actually is, and getting my body comfortable with those kind of movements. Because I never really done that movement or that kind of flexibility where I'd have to put myself in that situation.
I did have a follow-up question on your strike. when we looked at kind of yours, and generally when guys come in, they don't have a ton of experience. They usually are a lot more careful, a lot more cautious when they have their strikes. You seem to be so confident in your strike that you actually went probably what I would say is faster than the average in your windup. Kind of like I don't know if this will make sense to you, but an Alan Klingbeil-esque kind of windup. And it was a beautiful strike. What made you so confident that you weren't going to make a mistake, that you could go that quickly and hit him right on the button and get him out of there?
So the thing for me, before I even went out to Las Vegas and I started training for this, I had one of those bobs at home. I was practicing for a while, and then as soon as we got to the apex, that's all I was practicing in the beginning. That's all straight technique, where to hit exactly, and exactly my perfect form. And I think I really I got a nice little hang of it, and you guys got to see the first end of it. But when you guys see what I can always tweak to it, at the end of the day, you can always get better. There's always room for improvement.
100%. All right, my man. I want to kind of walk through a little bit. Didn't just kind of pulling this off on the fly here as we go. But walk through, my man. Can you see the screen?
Yep.
All right. What's going through your mind?
Honestly, I didn't expect it to affect me as much as it did. But I see the recovery. I'm very glad at the recovery that I made. Pleased with it. Glad that it wasn't as fast as I wanted to be, or it wasn't how I expected it to be. But I did my thing. I ate it, and then got right back out there.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely look like a showman. I mean, you're already talking to Robert on your way back while the ref's still following you through.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I like to. You got to take advantage of every opportunity possible. You know what I mean? Because you never know what tomorrow brings. Mm-hmm. That's how I always like to look at it.
Did you know instantly when you hit him he wasn't getting up?
Oh yeah, immediately. I knew the way as soon as I connected, I knew right away. I felt the button because it immediately just dropped.
Awesome. Dana, we've seen Frank, we've seen Hunter there. What was it like performing in front of those guys?
Honestly, it was so surreal. It's one of those things where it's like you're there, but you can't really believe it. It's an out-of-body kind of experience. When I first saw Dana White, it looked like a clone to me. That's how out-of-body it was. It took me a second to really collect my thoughts, but it was an insane experience. And meeting them and being able to perform in front of all of them, insane.
Awesome, my man. We appreciate you joining us. We're going to be reaching out to you. This is hopefully the first of many. I'm glad you're able to join us on the final slap to break down your match. It looks like you got a bright future ahead of you, my man.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, dude. Take care.
I'll catch you guys. Thank you.
All right, Ding.
We got his IG in there. Somebody asked for it in chat. So if you want to follow, Anthony King DeFrank, it's right there below for you. Follow. Make sure support these guys and follow the journey. He said he makes content. I haven't seen any of it. But we'll be watching it for sure now that we know.
Come on, my man. You're a closet King follower. I mean, you've been following all of it. I've got the stats on IG to prove it, my man. But honestly, man, incredible. You looked at the photo, you wouldn't have thought it. Austin Turpin also brought it up. But the guy showed up, showed out, got the victory in round one. Do you feel like he's someone that can go far in this competition?
I mean, look, man, the guy put somebody out in round one. That's something that experienced strikers don't always do, especially at that weight. We always wondered why lightweight was kind of the last one to get tapped and really filled out. We thought maybe it might be because of the concern about the power. This guy proved us wrong. You don't have to look the part. This is 100% a perfect example of a guy who's just got that kind of power. On the flip side, though, you never know how flattering their opponent makes them feel. Or look, excuse me. So there's a small possibility, but Gianni had a whack on him also. So I tend to believe that the guy could take one or two. He couldn't take it from him. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So we've got obviously here 5 matches in this tournament. We're going to see it dwindle down. We didn't see if it's going to be a bracket style. I know we talked about this on Smack Talk Live yesterday. But we've got the original matches. I thought that was quite interesting, the way that they picked the teams. And maybe it's the way it's always been before, but it was just how Dana explained it this time, was that we already have the matchups placed and the coaches are going back and forth as to what competitor they would like to select. So I don't recall that format being the same last time. From my knowledge, and now that I'm actually thinking back and speaking to some of the coaches before, I believe they just set a weight class originally, and the coaches were able to pick from the class regardless of who it was. So we've seen a bit of a change in the format there. So kind of interesting to kind of see. Let's break it down. I'm going to throw it to you. Go off, Team Turpin, right off the bat. Anybody stand out to you from what you've seen of some of the extracurricular stuff, whether it be in the house, someone that looks like a dog?
Well, we know Dominic Melendez. We know Dale Minner. We know Brandon Rhodes. I'm going to say, the only person we really saw a lot from at this up to this point in the house was Devin Helm. But I don't know that the whole taking the pants off thing exactly screams, toughness to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with, put that back up for a second. It was the one right next to him. He looks like a killer. Devin Jenkins. There you go. I didn't want to get his name wrong. I think Devin Jenkins looks like he's focused. He looks like he's the part. I personally think heavyweight is one of the best weight classes, obviously because of the power, the knockouts, the performances. James Seekman's another one that looks like he's not messing around.
Mm-hmm.
His name on Instagram is the Iron Chin. I don't know if that's a hint, but if it is a hint, then that'll do him well in this division with guys like Ryan Phillips, Damian DeBell, Nate Bernard. So I think if I had to pick two, I'm not sold on Devin Helm yet. Just the taking the pants off thing was an interesting one, and I thought they made good commentary and good fun of that on the episode.
Yeah, Jane Seekman right from the get-go has been showing a ton of confidence. As soon as he got out of the house on social media, he's been tagging us and stuff. I'm not sure if you've seen the video that he dropped today, but the confidence is all of this world right now. So obviously he knows how the matches went. Maybe it's a sign of things to come. But as you allude to, James Seekman looks like someone to keep an eye on in that heavyweight division. All right, so we got Team Trujillo. Like I said before, we got a couple Canadians in this particular, episode. Josh B, we talked about earlier. We've got Vince Tracy, another fellow Canadian coming in here. Bryce Jones, who you talked about, definitely wasn't backing down, whatsoever in that altercation. Darren Godfrey, who we know has been around since the trials, seemingly 15 plus months now. So interesting to see Darren come into this. We've got a bit of background on him. Otherwise, pretty well a bunch of new guys here. Pono, I thought, is actually an interesting one as well. We've seen some extra stuff on him. I know he was in Vegas at Power Stuff number 8. So it'll be interesting to see if he's able to translate that into success on Road to the Title Season 3. But we've got Robert Trujillo here coaching this team up. I'm sure he'll do a great job in getting these guys ready, because we know at least both on the offensive and the defensive side, he's been able to be incredibly dominant at his division and doing so in an impressive fashion. So great to see both of these teams coming together. We still have that whole group of guys that the crazy Hawaiian was teaching to get into the house. So there's definitely a lot of talent in this overall coming into the fold, into the fray. A lot of the previews that have been shown, we're seeing a lot of fights. So it's no surprise that it started from episode 1. I almost feel like the producers love that type of interaction and really show that stuff off quite a bit. We've seen the holler head and the drinks. What I will say though, and one of the cast members did say it did very much seem like one team was there to party and drink, which I believe was the blue team, and we had the black team seem to be very, very focused. So I might have it backwards, but it did seem like there was a bit of a mentality shift between one or the other. So we're going to see if that unfolds throughout the entire, season and how that impacts the results. But if you had an opportunity, Ding, to go to the house and now seeing season 1 and season 2, would you even engage in alcohol, whether you had it or not?
No, based on the amount of time that these guys were there, I don't think it's necessary at all. Of course, I'm slighted. I was in the military, so I was in a house like that with a lot less luxuries for a lot longer. But no, I think you go there. I think you put your head down, you focus, mingle with the guys as much as you need to. But ultimately, I think that's a great opportunity for you to find yourself, get focused and figure out, what you're doing here.
Yeah, I certainly agree, my man. All right, let's talk about Josh. I mean, the second matchup of the night, him and Jay Rivera. We've seen Jay before. Obviously, there's a lot of talk in the chat about Jay being a bodybuilder. We're not necessarily seeing bodybuilding, transform all that well into power slap as of yet. When we spoke to Brandon Allen, power is power. Bodybuilders have that opportunity to be able to translate some power, but sometimes it doesn't all in the same breath. So actually, it looks like we've got a special guest joining us here. So let's kind of switch back. Warta, how you doing, my man?
How's it going, brother?
Really
How's
good.
It going? Sam News.
What's up, brother?
I appreciate you joining me, man. First time we're talking. How you feeling watching back the episode?
I feel great. It was the first time experience, doing something I never did. I feel great about it, things of the outcome and what happened. I feel like ever since that, I've been training way harder. I feel like I now know the game. For sure, my defense needs to work, but I feel like it's going to come back.
What motivated you to join, to get into the house? Like, what gave you that confidence?
Honestly, like joining Power Slap, that's something like since the first season. I have 2 older brothers. So one of my brothers would watch the season since the beginning. I never knew anything about Power Slap. So since when he told me about it, started watching the episodes of season 1, started getting into it, kind of started liking some of the slap fighters, seeing like, okay, KO Chris, the badass, Manny Moniz. I see he's from California. So it's like a couple of strikers I got into, seeing their techniques. For sure, Austin Turp, a good coach. I see it for the red team. And then Trujillo was a good coach for our side.
Awesome, man. Where are you from? Are you a Cali kid?
Yeah, I'm from California. I'm right
Nice.
here.
What part?
I'm from Rancho Cucamonga, so I'm close by a couple of the strikers. So I know right there it says Upland. So that's like my hometown where I'm actually was born and everything. So it's literally next door.
Gotcha. Talk to me about your time in the time there in Las Vegas before the match. What was it like? How much time did you have? Were you able to get, acquainted and comfortable?
Vegas, the experience was fun. It was a time to get relaxed. You had a couple of days to train, get ready for your first fight. Like you said, you didn't really know much until the day it happened, and then bam, like got to get ready for what you sign up for. And I feel like it was the best experience, and I'm ready to go back. Anytime they need me, I'm here. I'm ready.
Yeah, talk to me what you thought about Anthony DeFrank before the match. We seen the face-off earlier today on social. What was kind of going through your mind, and how are you sizing him up?
With that one, I kind of felt it. I was looking at a couple of the lightweights, trying to figure out who would be my first opponent, who would match up even with me, like how was their scores compared to mine. So I seen his score was kind of similar to almost my score, so we had pretty much good scores. And I see he had just a little height advantage, but I feel like they still didn't have nothing like against me. I feel like I could still drop someone big. Like, it's just more into the power and technique. And I feel like that's one thing I've been training the most is just that technique, the speed, and the power behind it.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. I mean, that first, first lick you gave him was a good one. You see him do the noodle legs. Did you think it was enough?
I felt at that time, honestly, from the experience, my honest opinion, I felt like before the match, I felt like kind of a little soreness in my shoulder. I felt like I didn't want to give it up. I feel like I didn't give it my full power that I wanted to get to. But I did give him a good lick with the slap that I even gave them. I wish that I could have, gave it more, but, it happens. Things happen. And you built.
Yeah, go ahead, Ding.
Hey, brother. So obviously didn't go your way, man. But like Corey said, that first strike, I thought it was a great strike. Again, the concern is always without the experience, what happens when you get up there, under the bright lights. In your case, when he hit you, and I want you to try to talk through this as best as you can, your legs seemed to lock up, but you were still there, and you tried to get back up, but you just weren't able to. And it looked like the ref had kind of seen enough. What was that experience like? Like it looked like you just couldn't use your legs. Your legs were kind of just locked up, but you were able to move the upper part of your body. Can you talk us through kind of what that was like? What were you thinking, if you remember? What was that moment?
Um, honestly, it was a crazy moment. Like it just happened quick. Like you said, his wind up was something similar to other strikers they've seen, like you were saying, Allen, the King Bao. How his wind up is just so quick, you just don't suspect it when to hit. So when it did hit, I felt like I tried to sustain the hit, so I stood and then I just like leaned back with it. So how you're saying, I felt like my legs didn't want to move, but my body wanted to get up. As like you seeing, I'm trying to get up slowly. Like first for the second, I just took a breather. So when you see me drop down, I'm just breathing, and then I'm trying to get back up. And then, like you said, my legs are just like, what's going on? Like I feel like I didn't have my legs, like my power to get up, but my body on the upper side like had that force. Like I felt me snap out of it.
Yeah, it's uncommon that we see that where your legs just like it was very clear your legs really didn't have you didn't have a ton of control over your legs. Generally, we see guys wobbly, maybe their legs aren't under them, but they can move them. You had one leg in specific, I believe it was your left leg, that was just completely locked up, and you were trying to kick off your right leg, and I think that concerned the referee and why he stepped in. He didn't even let you get to the 10 count. It's interesting though because two parts of your body were doing two different things. It's not something that we see very often. But generally, I mean, how long did it take? It looked like when they sat you down, you sat down for a minute and then you got back up. They walked you down the steps. How long after that do you think you took to kind of like get back to normal, where you were like, all right, I think I'm okay. You weren't dizzy or anything like that anymore.
I felt like as soon as they walked me off the stage, so I felt my legs. I was just walking down on my own. I walked off. I felt my conscience, my mind. I got asked a few questions, like you said, if I was okay, making sure I knew I was back into my mind, like if I was still wobbly. But after I knew when I was down the stage, I was back to normal. I felt like it was just, one thing that I never experienced, and now experiencing, I feel like I can come back, be way better, show them that I do got a chin. That was just my first time letting myself get hit with no defense. But it was fun. I loved it. The sport is amazing. I feel it's going to continue to grow, especially with us lightweights. I feel like we have a lot to say about that. They feel like we can't compete, and I feel like we could, especially with the first round knockouts. And I could give it to Anthony. Like us being lightweights, knocking people down in the first round means that we do got power.
Yeah, 100%. And we talked about that earlier. Just, we always wondered why lightweight was kind of the one that didn't get filled so quickly. And we speculated that it might be because there was concern about the power. Obviously, you guys going up there and doing what you do, that I think that myth is busted. I did want to ask if you had to characterize what you think went wrong up there, right? You just talked about it a second ago. You said that, you do have a chin. We talked about his strike being fast. I mean, what factors do you really think led to kind of, it to not go your way and for it to end in that kind of fashion?
I feel mainly as I keep reviewing, I think maybe my position. Like if you play back the video, like maybe my position wasn't right, like the way, and then letting out maybe my chin way too out instead of just positioning myself in a certain position, so I don't take my whole contact to the open. Other than like if I take a hit right here, other than the whole chin. So I felt like I let it all out. Like you said, it's the first time, so I really didn't know how to position myself. Kind of let the referee count me out, but I feel like it was just too much.
Yeah, 100%. And then my last one for me. Do you have any combat sports fighting experience, training that you've done for particular combat sports, in your past before Power Slap?
So when I was just like when mid school, so middle school, I did kind of like my intense training. I did trying to go into MMA. I wanted to do boxing at the time. I have cousins that done like I think mansion house fights like with boxing, so underground boxing. So stuff I wanted to kind of get into way before, and then I think I took a different step when I started going to other sports, as in football. I say I took football more considerate. I fell in love with that sport a lot. So I feel like the fighting stepped back off a little bit. And so now that all the stuff that's passed, now I feel like I want to be a fighter again. I'm still young. I still got training. And, I'm like motivated every day. Every day you see me, I'm posting videos, I'm in the gym. I'm never giving up. I'm here to stay.
Awesome, my man. Appreciate you joining us. Hopefully this isn't the last time we see you. Hopefully we see you back there up real soon. Take care. You
Of
got a
course,
new home
brother.
at Slap News. You need anything, reach out anytime.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me. Anytime. You guys will see me soon, for sure.
Take care, my man.
Much love, brother.
All right, Ding, let's talk about it. Right off the start, we got about 2,500 viewers in there. From my recollection, the highest that I seen at any one given point was about 6,900 people watching it live. What do you think about these numbers? We know the road to the title is viewing better than tough these days in 2024. But seeing those numbers up there, are you surprised with where it's at, or are you a little underwhelmed?
I don't remember what it was at in the past. But I think one thing that's cool is that you are able to see those concurrent viewer numbers. That's something that obviously Tough doesn't get being on ESPN. I don't know that this is a primetime spot. I know Dana has said Wednesdays doesn't go against anything. But I personally think 6,900 viewers concurrently for, a reality show that's on its third season for a sport that gets as much criticism as Power Slap does. I'd say that I'd call that a win. But at the same time, what that number looks like in total over the next week, I guess that remains to be seen. My hope would be that it would just kind of, move in line with or above what we saw in season 2, which is quite a bit above that. I'll tell you that. It's I think those are in the almost between 500,000 and higher. So overall, I say it's a good start, concurrently especially.
Yeah. It's tough. Like you said, 9 o'clock in the East is a pretty late time for a lot of people. In the middle of the week, I guess it could work both ways. People getting the kids down, being able to watch it without having any distraction, but it does definitely kind of get into that upper end of it. I think the 24-hour number will be critically important to kind of see where that number is. If memory serves me well, like I'm pretty sure season 1, episode 1, it came in around that, I believe it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 300,000. So, we got a ways to go. I don't know the actual live numbers of where that kind of played out, but we'll see. I think there's a lot of excitement. We've talked about kind of the swell that we're seeing overall and, this new cast, the guys that are coming into it. Dude, at one point as it was playing, I went and I looked, there was 19 strikers in the division that were live on Instagram, phenomenal to see. Some of these young kids adopting technology, putting themselves out there, making sure that they're there in real time as they wanted to. And, great to kind of see these guys getting behind that. And, the excitement and the promotion that they're doing now is second to none as well. All the strikers are getting on board. They're getting their custom graphics. They're pushing everything through. Let's bring up the second fight, my man. I've got it here right now.
Real quick, I just want to say the number on Rumble right now is reflective of all visits over the last 3 days since they posted the looping trailer, and that number is at 582,000. So I suspect we actually will never get the actual number. I think that it'll always be inflated because it's going to generate all viewership over the last 72 hours.
Gotcha, my man.
So, but it's over 500,000 right now, which even for a trailer, I think is good. If people clicked on it to see what it was, I think that's a good sign.
Totally. All right, let's bring up the second fight of the night. Jay Rivera against Joshua B. I ain't trying it, man.
Bro, you can say Fontaine Blood, but you can't say Beauvert. Come on.
Beauvert. All right. Beauvert.
Yeah, the S is silent and the I is silent.
All right.
And the T is silent. It's 3 silent.
Beauvert. All right. Get my language lesson.
I like his hair.
Which one? Beauvert?
Beauvert. Rivera's hair is nice also. I don't want to think. So this is an interesting one. Terrible strike because of the flinch.
I think it was a good call.
100%. But it goes to show you, man, we just talked about it with King DeFrank. Jay Rivera looks the part. When he did his weigh-in thing, I was like, damn, dude, this dude's got quite the biceps on him for a small guy like that. Said he had to cut a bunch of weight. but he hits him with his second strike, and unlike the usual, the Canadians, he stood there and he fought.
Yeah, that second strike was off. Just all fingertips. You see on the second strike across the face. You see go across even high across the eye. So, I think obviously that upper orbital bone, it's not really a great place to be striking. You hurt your hand more often than not striking that high, and kind of, like I say, went through it and didn't seem to get a lot of torque behind it.
Another left-handed striker.
Very short windup on this one.
Yeah, he had his arm in sort of like a Y.
Yeah.
It wasn't a long one, which is interesting. I think that's an inexperienced thing.
And
probably can generate more power if he was to just step back a little bit. But who knows? Maybe the box doesn't allow him to. I don't know.
Yeah. Obviously he got the victory, took care of Jay Rivera. I think I'd like to see him step back a little bit more and kind of do a little bit more of the Damien DeBell type of strike, where you get that whip and generate that speed through your body, because he does have incredibly long arms. Pretty crazy to think this guy's at 155.
Yeah, like I said, when he went like this after the weigh-in, I was like, holy shit, that guy's arms are huge.
Mm-hmm.
And he said cut 28 pounds down. He was eating hard-boiled eggs and asparagus, which is fucking disgusting. I was a little surprised, and I wonder if this is the first time these guys are seeing / hearing the commentary from their coaches, where they do the little, like, the sit downs where it's separate. Turpin didn't have a lot of faith in him, man. He kind of counted him out and said, this guy's got no chin. He maybe needs to just be a fan of power slap. I was surprised by that. I won't lie. Being that how motivational Turpin can be, but he's also a straight shooter, so I don't think it's unlike him. But I was definitely, shocked by the fact that he kind of said, like, the guy ain't built for this. But again, the history is that he's done this before, and a similar thing happened. So I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say he should be a fan of power slap. I think that's a little, disrespectful. But I was definitely surprised to hear his coach say it for sure.
Yeah, Boer takes care of Jay in this one. Obviously, King DeFranco. Give me your thoughts on who you think made the best impression of their first matches and why.
DeFrank.
Think DeFrank?
A million percent DeFrank, because the personality, right? I thought Rivera had the better personality in that grouping. And DeFrank's personality, obviously, you saw. He just said it a minute ago, right? He loves himself. He thinks highly of himself. He's very confident. I personally think he was mischaracterizing it. He called it cockiness. I don't think that's what. I didn't see that from him. In his behavior. I just think he's a guy that has to fill his own cup to get himself going. But I think the way that knockout happened, the confidence that he exuded, the stuff we got to see from him behind the scenes, his own ambition and aspiration. I think that kid, and again, the fact that he doesn't look the part, I'm impressed by that kid quite a bit.
Yeah, I think Bover has a great opportunity to advance quite far in this tournament as well. We've seen both the taller strikers, the longer, lankier guys being able to take care of business in this first round. Like I say, both these guys very, very new. First time that we're seeing them, getting to talk with them. And it's exciting. I was getting ready for the show. I don't believe they let us know who the next matches were, did they? At the very end for next week. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I believe they did. I believe they did. Yeah, because it's the rest of the lightweight tournament. I believe they talked about Dakota McGregor.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So I believe they did. And then obviously we saw the sneak peek of Devin Helm, Bryce Jones. We know that they don't care about sequence, right? They don't care when things happen as far as how it's shown on TV. So I would imagine that match is coming up shortly as well. Maybe they don't want to do all lightweights, but I believe they said Dakota McGregor, Ivan Hernandez will be next show for sure. Beyond that, I don't think I heard anything else.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And Slapdog coming in with his conspiracy theory about why there's no super heavyweights. He thinks that the meals were just too much money for the super heavyweight fighters.
Yeah, I think it's, I like what they're doing. I like the way that they try to develop out the division. Season 2 very much stacked on that super heavyweight division. Obviously, there's a lot of new talent in there with Danny Van Heerden, McKinney Manu, Evian Scott. So that division seems to be okay right now. It seems to be in a very good, positive spot. I like that they're building out this lightweight with a tournament for Robert Trujillo. I think that's incredibly smart. And then we're seeing some sprinkling of other guys into the other divisions as well to try to add a little bit more spice and excitement where they see fit. I know we talked a little bit earlier about that heavyweight division. I think that's a division that needs a little bit of extra oomph to it as well right now. Some of the guys that are kind of sitting there in the middling in that division, it'd be nice to kind of get some fresh blood in there, kind of go up and fight some of those guys at the top of the ranks and some of those matches that we haven't seen before. So I think there's a couple different weight classes that are definitely primed for those opportunities. Let's talk about some of the shenanigans in the house, my man. Let's play a little bit of a clip here, okay? So we see some clothing, got some Head Rush. We've got Holler Head. We got Happy Dads. Looks like Head Rush might be a new sponsor that we haven't seen before.
That was crazy. That was a real close one for that backflip.
Yeah.
That was a small landing area. That was pretty dangerous, I might say.
Yeah.
Everybody seemed to be getting along. You see Dominic Melendez there taking a shot with, forgive me, I don't know that fella's name. And Bryce Jones, who we'll see a little bit later. That's fucking disgusting.
What did you think of Bryce?
I thought the dude was as confident in his masculinity as ever. This was an interesting one. I didn't think Bryce said anything wrong. I don't think I would. I'm aggressive. I'm an aggressive and confrontational person. I don't think I would have got upset by that, especially given we're in the same weight class and are probably going to fight at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume that these guys are going to. I don't know what ticked him off that much. Obviously, you can't hear audio because of this thing called copyright. But this was interesting. That guy was like fired up. Bryce Jones is cool, calm, collective, wants to finish his full game, but this pool game, but this other guy, Devin Helm, was just on fire. I don't know. Like, he's giving me like the prison eyes. And shout out to this guy. I don't know who this is yet, but we will. For getting in between big guys like that, especially given how kind of heated it got, that was ballsy. I would have just let them do their thing, man. And I don't know what the whole pants thing was about. I don't know if that was to take the mic off or make sure his balls didn't get hot or what. I don't know what that was about, but the comments were going crazy in the live stream. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, no, definitely kind of a taste of what's to come overall. Surprised that it's actually surprised that there wasn't punches thrown here. I mean, we've seen punches thrown with a lot less confrontation in years past. So,
yeah, Paw Patrol books and shit like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's neat, man. You know what? We're seeing a little bit more of the house stuff. We know the guys talked about it. They're wanting to see more of their personality, what it was like in the house. We're getting a little bit more of that in this episode. It's kind of like a fine balance. It's like season 1 might have had a little bit too much, even though we liked it as fans. Season 2 definitely didn't have enough. And we're kind of seeing come back in the middle with a really good mix of both. Other than that, anything in the chats? Anything that the guys want?
Chat's actually quiet today, man. I mean, I was keeping up with it when they were, asking some questions, but it's like stuff like this. He's saying DeFrank's got a long neck ready for him to get knocked out. I was just confirming the next match. Nothing crazy. Chat's quiet today. Everybody's lurking.
Yeah. I mean, it's great to see. Great to be back. We're in the middle of the summer. We're going to be coming to you with the final slap following the episode every single week. Did we get how many episodes we're going to have? Or is that still up in the air?
Still up in the air, but I'm going to say 12. With 30-minute episodes, I'm going to say 12.
Yeah, so 12 episodes. We're going to be here 12 weeks. Going to keep on bringing it to you. We got 2 live shows. Smack Talk Live Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And then we're coming back with a final slap on Wednesday. Slightly later, we're looking about 9:30 Eastern. We'll be following up, getting the fighters in. And tune in on the Thursday and the Friday. Each week, we're going to be getting into in-depth one-on-one interviews with the winners. So stay tuned to Slap News for everything in the game. We keep on working hard to bring you guys that content. If you guys are looking for more than just the episode to bridge the gap between events, Slap News is your place to be. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Rumble every single week. Ding, I appreciate my man. Let's hit her hard again next week.